So I want to talk to you about a common problem with ArcGIS and new users and sometimes experienced users is the appearance of the red exclamation point, which means ArcMap does not know where the data is. And this is a problem I created somewhat deliberately. So when I set up the folder for the lab, I had a folder called Data. And in the Data folder was all of these data layers for you to use. And I created the map and I got things looking okay. I created an inset map, and then I decided that we had too many folders named data, and if you accidentally map to the wrong folder it could be confusing, so it would make more sense to call this qual data. So I renamed the folder qual data. And when you do that and open up your MXD, ArcMap does not know where the data is anymore. It's looking for a folder called data. So there's some ways that you can fix that, and I'm just going to show you the very tedious but time-honored way of doing that. First, you're going to right-click one of the layers, go to Properties, and click the Source tab. And this will tell you that it's a shape file. The name of it is River, and it's a line file, and it thinks it's in a folder called data, which obviously it isn't because I changed the name of that. So it's fairly easy to it's kind of easy to reset that. So you're going to say set data source, and here is where it gets really crazy. You have to make sure that you are going to the original file. So now I want to open up qual data. I'm looking for something called River that's a line file, and I find it here, so I'm going to point to that and say add, and now you'll see it's now looking for qual data river shape, and I'm going to choose OK. And there's my river. Right now I'm going to make the main map the active data frame, and I'm going to go to there you go. So you can see all the rivers that were in that data frame. So that's one way to do that. The other thing you need to make sure you understand is that I can change the name of a layer in the table of contents, but it actually does not change it at all in the actual data set. So here the feature class is called Major Road. It thinks it's in the data folder. The table of contents, I'm calling it road for mapping purposes. So when I set the data source here, I need to make sure that I'm clicking on Major Road. And here's another file that has the same name as the first file, and you can see that it's actually called MJ River and it's a polygon. So I have to make sure that I find the right file and the file type to add those. So you can go through your data and add them back into your data set. Now this is great as long as I actually have the data with me, and the data is set to read relative pathways, and so we can check and see if that was done. Map document properties. So relative pathways were not set, which really wouldn't help in this situation because I changed the actual name of the data folder. So that is one way to make sure that your data gets connected. Now, if I had created this on my desktop and then saved the MXD onto my flash drive away from the data, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it on my flash drive. Then when I get home and I open up that flash drive and try to open up my data, I'm not going to have the data with me, so I won't be able to map to that data. So here's the MXD, which is perfectly fine, but there's no data associated with it.